Hi, I'm Winter, and you know, I may have been too harsh with Sonic. Remember the last time I took a look at one of these games?
And you know what? I have to say it. I've spread this false narrative for too long. You know Sonic shoes? Yeah, those ones. They're not that cool, okay? I'm sorry, I had to say it!
Okay, I'll take that back. I was just feeling a little frustrated in the moment, I guess. Look, sure, Sonic 1 might have sucked, and also Sonic CD, and I mean, Sonic 2 really wasn't that great. But is that really enough to judge the little rodent so harshly? How about I give the little guy one last chance? That's right, I'll do it. I'm finally going to take a look at the third game in the Sonic series. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. What else are you going to do on a Friday night?
Sonic CD happened.
Did it?
But Sega sort of decided to gloss over that when it came to making the fourth entry in the Sonic series, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Back to being developed by Yuji Naka and his team, meaning this game actually had the potential to not make me scream at the thought of saying the word Sonic and CD together. So after the success of Sonic 2, Sega knew, yeah, they should leave it to the STI guys to make the mainline Sonic games.
You can always trust the STI guys.
STI was split into two teams after Sonic 2, one comprised of Japanese developers who would create Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and one comprised of American developers who would create a mistake. Development began in January of 1993, with the game being scheduled to be finished by February 1994. Sega had a planned promotional campaign with McDonald's because what else are you going to do in February of 1994? And don't say lift a trade embargo on Vietnam because I know you're not Bill Clinton. The game was originally called Sonic 3D and was meant to be an isometric 3D platformer. Then they came to the realization that this f***ing stinks and reworked that into Sonic 3D Blast, which f***ing stinks! So they started building off of what they knew worked, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, because dear god STI was trying to avoid whatever the hell they were doing over in Japan. They decided that this time around they were going to need to give the game a much deeper story so as not to bore the audience.
I require the deepest of lore for my blue rodent video games.
The scope of this project was quite a bit larger than any of the other games in the series up to this point. There were plans for 14 whole levels, doubling Sonic CD's 7 levels and adding 4 onto the 10 present in Sonic 2. Hell, they even got Michael Jackson to create music for the game, and he went uncredited because of...
Well, ain't that a bitch?
The excuse given by Jackson's team was that he chose to go uncredited because he was unhappy with the quality of his music coming out of the Sega Genesis, but Jackson was a self-professed Sonic fan and was also shown the Genesis's sound chip, which was most likely what got him on board in the first place. We all know the real reason he wasn't credited is because of the allegations against him. Anyways, disaster just had to strike. See, Naka's team might have had too great of ambitions for this game because a normal Genesis cartridge just couldn't handle all that Sonic, and it would be far too expensive to produce larger cartridges for the game. So with the marketing campaign with McDonald's quickly approaching and the team knowing they wouldn't be able to complete the game, they decided to split the project in half, with Sonic 3 being released first in 1994, and Sonic & Knuckles, a sequel and expansion, being released separately later that same year.
But we're not here to talk about that yet. If there's one thing I hate, it's games with and Knuckles in the title, and I am not ready to open that can of worms yet. Without further ado, let's finally jump into Sonic 3! I don't have a Genesis.
Sonic 3 is actually finally getting an official widescreen port later this year, but I'm an impatient f***o, so I decided to play Sonic 3 Air, a fan-made port of the game with tons of customization options that runs off the Steam version of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. While I won't be able to experience the credits of Sonic 3 this way, I will still be able to experience every level exactly as it was designed in the original release of Sonic 3 with the Michael Jackson music and all, so it's practically the same thing, just, you know, it looks better. The game starts and...
The hell was that?
Why does it have to start this way? It's like they needed to make the player flinch to really get across how big a deal this game. Like, imagine a world where Sonic 3 doesn't start with 3D Sonic assaulting you. Now look at the world we're currently living in. See? World changing. So this game has a fully functional save feature. This is a first for the series, and I'm sure the game will be long enough to warrant having this built in. So the game really starts with Sonic flying into Angel Island Zone when suddenly, BAM! Assault!
Hate it when that happens.
This red thing is called Knuckles, and he's what happens when game developers decide that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 needs a deeper story.
It happens more often than you'd think.
So the plot of this game is that Dr. Robotnik is building a new Death Egg on Angel Island, a floating island that's home to the Master Emerald. He tricks Knuckles, the guardian of said emerald, into believing that Sonic is here to steal it, both to distract Knuckles from the construction of the Death Egg and to give Sonic a f***ing nuisance. And that's it, I think. So much for a deeper story, that's just the same thing, except with Knuckles.
Any story can be improved with Knuckles.
Anyways, Angel Island Zone is such a refreshing first level after Sonic CD. It's vibrant, colorful, it has awesome music, and it's actually different from Green Hill Zone, which is genuinely such a massive breath of fresh air with this series after 3 games of just...
Oh yeah, this is just Green Hill Zone again.
Sonic looks pissed in this game. They tweaked his design from previous games, giving him angrier eyes and bigger hands, and while I think it works, I don't know, I just think the original sprite from the first 3 games looks better. Not long into the first stage, we reach our first special stage. These are scattered throughout the levels and don't require you to have a certain number of rings or anything. Definitely my favorite way these have been implemented into the series so far. Get blue spheres?
Is that a threat?
These special stages are actually so much more fun than any of the bullshit they tried in the past. Seriously, this is the 4th game in the series and they've only just now made a tolerable special stage. Basically, you want to collect all these blue spheres. If you collect all the spheres on the outside of a rectangle, they all turn into rings, and if you collect all the rings in a special stage, you get an extra life. Collect all the spheres, and you get a Chaos Emerald. Because of how abundant these special stages are, it's actually possible to get access to Super Sonic incredibly early on in the game if you're skilled enough, and I think that's really cool. Too bad I'm not skilled enough. Yeah, once again, I beat this game without unlocking Super Sonic. I'm just no good at any of these special stages. They've always been far too heavily based on reaction times for me, and as a result, I just don't stand a chance. Anyways, back to the level. Sonic has this new ability called the Insta-Shield, which gives him a slightly bigger hitbox while he's in the air. This is an incredibly important ability that I constantly forgot about. After reaching the end of Act 1, Robotnik attacks Angel Island with fire bombs. You destroy the machine that launched the bombs, and yeah, on to Act 2. And Act 2 not only has an entirely different aesthetic, but an entirely unique song as well. This is such a fantastic way to demonstrate that Sonic 3 is a game that STI really put a lot of time and effort into. I mean, Act 2 feels entirely different from Act 1 with all the fire and the more menacing music. It's just really cool. This act also introduced the new elemental shields, replacing the energy shields from the previous game. There's the bubble shield, which allows you to bounce and breathe underwater, the fire shield, which lets you walk through fire and do a mid-air dash attack, and the lightning shield, which draws rings to you and lets you double jump. I accidentally entered a bonus stage in this act, which is entirely different from the special stages. These suck and I'm going to choose not to talk about them. At the end of the level, it's time to finally fight Robotnik, who hovers over some pits and occasionally shoots fire at you. I mean, at least it's better than the first boss in Sonic CD. After defeating him, we cross the bridge where Knuckles hits a switch and sends us down into the depths.
Knuckles. Thanks.
Hydrocity is the next zone, and it's a water level.
Why? End of thought.
Okay, but hear me out on this one. Hydraulic Situps is a really okay water level. Like, it even reaches tolerable levels at a few points. This is the first water level since Chemical Plant where it feels like it's genuinely feasible to get through the level without even touching water. And even when you're underwater, the introduction to the bubble shield makes things infinitely more tolerable. And when you're above water, oh boy, there's some great platforming and even better speed sections here. I genuinely really like Hydration Situation. Mini boss in Act 1 kinda sucks, but that's mostly because I'm impatient. If you're not me, you'll probably think it's just fine. And the boss of Act 2, well, Knuckles does some f***ery and you end up in this little pond where Eggman tries to suck you into a propeller and drop bombs on you. This boss isn't bad, although it does take a bit longer than I'd like. Nothing too bad though, and this game is off to an amazing start when compared to all the games that came before it. After that, a torrent forces us up to Marble Garden Zone, and you know, I liked this game up until this point, but I had to say it eventually.
Yeah, this level isn't good.
So you go through the level on these little spinning tops that are controlled based on whatever direction Sonic is running in. That's cool, sure, until they're going at top speed and you can't control where it's going anymore. This isn't necessarily terrible, like, it's not unplayable, it's just, I don't know, I don't like when the game takes control away from the player like this. It just doesn't make my brain go, wow, I'm having fun! There are also these human head statues that shoot arrows, and they have the exact same issue as the similar obstacles in Aquatic Ruin and Sonic 2. It's somewhat hard to see the arrows against the level background, and I also just couldn't really get used to the statues taking 3 hits to disable when most enemies take 1. Mini-boss here is this drill thing that's somewhat similar to the wacky workbench boss in Sonic CD, although less cool, and once we destroy it, the whole place starts caving in. Because we destroyed the drill that could have caused that to happen. The boss in Act 2 completely redeems the entire area though. Robotnik completely destroys the ground, and just when it seems like Sonic is finally going to meet his well-deserved death, Tails swoops in to prove at last that he does have a reason to exist. Tails basically carries Sonic through the entire boss fight, and once you position yourself properly, you jump out of his hands to either hit or avoid Robotnik. And there's no need to worry about falling into the pit below because Tails will automatically come down to save Sonic. The only way to die here is to lose all your rings and get hit by Robotnik, and man, this fight is cooler than it has any right to be. Level 4 is Carnival Night Zone, and okay, so it's not bad, but it suffers from what I'm going to coin as Scrapyard Zone syndrome. There's just bumpers and barrels and other weird physics objects thrown up all over the place, and while the craziness that ensues does work for the carnival theme of the level, man, it's just annoying for a Sonic game. There's this point where you get stuck in a room, only you and a barrel. You'd think the barrel is momentum-based, right? Because it's a Sonic game and lots of puzzles in the series are affected by your momentum. But nope, you just hold up or down while standing on the barrel. Why would I think that in a Sonic game? Again, the level's fine looking back on it, but without the knowledge you'd gain from having already played the game, I don't know, man, it's just not that special. The mini-boss is like the reverse of Breakout, the old arcade game. You had to make the top hit the rest of the machine while avoiding falling into any pits made by it. This is okay once you realize what the goal is. Halfway through the second act, Knuckles shows up and says, "F*** you," turning off the lights, and I don't know what that's supposed to change, but for some reason, Act 2 is pretty much a water level for a good chunk of the time. Wonderful! Boss of Act 2 is Robotnik, except this time he shoots balls and then magnetizes them with his machine. Yet another easy boss, but honestly, I'm just glad to see anything even remotely creative after Sonic CD. Sonic gets shot in a cannon all the way to IceCap Zone, and wow, this level gets off to a cool start. Sonic snowboards down a mountain all cool-like while the coolest song in the game plays, and it's just so goddamn cool! I've always liked ice levels aesthetically, and I've gotta say, this might be one of the cooler ones I've seen, with the sprite art being beautiful and the music being just God, so good!
Inject this song directly into my veins.
There's a few points where the level decides, yeah, we're trapping you in an endless loop until you figure out this puzzle, and while it gives me flashbacks to Labyrinth Zone, at least this level is cool and not utterly infuriating. The mini-boss in Act 1 is this robot that makes a shield around itself, but this is just as simple as the Robotnik boss with the same gimmick in CD, so yeah, there's really not a ton to say here. Act 2 of IceCap has trampolines.
Ice? Trampolines? Yeah, makes sense to me.
There's just not much to say here. Until the boss. You jump on this platform and hit Robotnik and hope to God that you don't touch the ground before breaking out of the ice you'll inevitably get frozen in. And if you die here, be careful of the too many enemies they put around the checkpoint, because that's where I experienced the majority of my deaths in this entire playthrough. After defeating Robotnik, we reach Launch Base Zone. The first checkpoint in this level is roughly a minute and a half in, and geez, it's hard to get there without dying. You can see the Death Egg under construction in the background throughout the level, which is really neat, and there's even a point where you can pass by Robotnik while he's working on the repairs. Aesthetically, at least, this level is so cool. But why are there spikes on the wall right before the first checkpoint? You almost have to jump to get through the entrance, but if you jump at the wrong time, say goodbye to your rings or even a life. It's like you can barely even see the spikes because of how light both they and the wall are, and they're not adding anything to the level. This is probably the most Sonic 1S design choice I've seen in this game, but considering this is the final level, that took a shockingly long time. Knuckles destroys a tower or something, I don't really know, who cares, but once you follow after him, it's time to fight generic robot mini-boss number 6. You just hit the center while avoiding some spike balls, easy as can possibly be. Act 2 has some weird water level portions, and I really hate how often that's been a thing in this game, but it's not nearly as bad here as it was in Carnival Night, so I'll let it slide. The boss here is the easiest one yet. Robotnik doesn't move, he just lets you hit him, so he can be taken down incredibly easily. After taking him out, we jump in his Eggmobile, which Knuckles tries to punch before being taken out by the Death Egg beginning to take off. We ride on over to a platform connected to where it's launching and fight Robotnik's laser tower thing. Again, an easy boss, there's just not much to say here. The lasers are super predictable, and he even loses one after you hit him a few times. But then, the final boss comes in. Big Arm.
Well, at least it's not Bigfoot, I guess.
Big Arm is really hard if you forget the Insta-Shield exists, which I did. I had to look up a walkthrough just to remind myself to press A twice, but yeah, after remembering the Insta-Shield exists, this is really nothing. After defeating Big Arm, the Death Egg starts exploding again for some reason and plummets down into Angel Island below. And that's Sonic 3! 6 levels, really?
Well, like I said earlier, Sonic 3 was originally supposed to have 14 levels, but then this clown just had to get in the way. The remaining 8 levels can be played in the next game in the series, Sonic and Knuckles, but I think that'd best be saved for another time. You can really only handle so much Blue Rat versus Fat Scientist in one day. Overall, though, I have to say Sonic 3 is really good. You can really tell that the developers took everything they learned while developing Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 to heart, and they really tried to invest that into making something truly great with Sonic 3, and in the end, they succeeded. So with that said, it is my distinct honor to bestow upon Sonic the Hedgehog the highest award that I can give. Yeah, his shoes are pretty damn cool!